Please confirm if my voice is clear and you're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. In the previous class, we discussed feedback amplifiers, second unit feedback amplifiers we completed. Today's class, we will start third unit oscillators. Okay, third unit oscillators. Oscillations we can consider as a special case of feedback amplifier. Okay, oscillations we can consider as a special case of feedback amplifier where we consider positive feedback and A beta equal to 1. Okay, we will slowly go into the details. But what I am trying to say is whatever the theory that we have studied in feedback amplifiers, we will require it while we are studying this third unit oscillators. So first of all, the generation of oscillations. Okay, what is an oscillator? Okay, oscillator is a circuit which generates AC voltage without an input signal. Okay, let us first understand the difference between amplifier and oscillator. Amplifier, what an amplifier does is to give a small AC input, it amplifies and generates a large AC output. Okay, whereas oscillator is a circuit without giving any AC input, it generates AC output. Okay, oscillator is a circuit which generates an AC voltage without any AC input. Okay, so from where it takes energy is it takes energy from the DC supply. Okay, it takes energy from the DC supply. We can also call an oscillator as a circuit which converts DC voltage to AC voltage. Okay, so the basic idea behind oscillations. Now let us consider a charged capacitor, okay, a switch and an inductor. Now I told you the capacitor is charged. Okay, when a capacitor is charged, it stores energy in the form of its electric field. Okay, when a capacitor is charged, it stores energy in the form of its electric field. So when we close this switch, what happens is the capacitor discharges through the inductor. Okay, right? So what we are now considering, we are again I am repeating from the beginning, we are taking a charged capacitor, a switch and a inductor, right? Now when we close this switch, the capacitor slowly discharges through the inductor. Now here let us see the situation. Switch is closed, the capacitor is slowly discharging through the inductor. Now what happens is when the capacitor slowly discharges through the inductor, current flows through the inductor obviously. Okay, so when this capacitor discharges and the current flows through the inductor, a magnetic field is generated around the inductor. Okay, so now what is happening is initially the energy was stored in the capacitor in the form of electric field. Now when the switch is closed, the energy is stored in the inductor in the form of magnetic field. Okay, I repeat, initially the capacitor stored energy in the form of electric field. Now when the switch is closed, the inductor, okay, stores energy in the form of its magnetic field. Now what happens is, although the capacitor is fully discharged, okay, inductor has the property that it doesn't, okay, it opposes sudden change in current. Inductor opposes sudden change in current, means Although the capacitor is discharged, okay, inductor current will not suddenly fall to zero. It will maintain, it has the property that it maintains the constant flow of current through it. So, but because of that, what happens is the capacitor initially starts to discharge, but now it charges in the opposite direction. Okay, right? The other way of explaining this is when the capacitor started to discharge, the magnetic field was generated, right, in the coil. Now this magnetic field, it continues to maintain the current through the loop. Okay, because of which the current, okay, starts to, right, or the current continues to flow, because of which now the capacitor charges in the opposite direction. So what happens is the charge capacitor, when the switch is closed, it discharges, right? And because of this magnetic field, the energy in the magnetic field, it will charge in the opposite direction. Now, once it is charged to the maximum value, now again slowly it discharges, okay, in this path. So initially the current will flow in, okay, when the capacitor discharges, initially the current will flow in clockwise direction. Now when the capacitor charges to the negative peak value, okay, now it has to discharge through the inductor, isn't it? So it discharges through the inductor. Now the current flows in anti-clockwise direction, right? So because of this clockwise and anti-clockwise flow of currents one after the other, okay, oscillations are generated. Okay, oscillations are generated. So this is called as tank circuit, LC tank circuit, right? When I charge the capacitor, a switch, and then we have inductor. When we close the switch, oscillations are generated. So this is the basic idea behind the generation of oscillations. Okay, then what is the frequency with which the oscillations are generated in an LC circuit? Is the frequency of oscillation is given by 1 by 2 pi root LC. Okay, what is the frequency with which the oscillations take place in an LC circuit? Means F is given by 1 by 2 pi root LC, where L is the value of the inductor, C is the capacitance of the capacitor. Next, let us discuss the condition for oscillations. Okay. Now, as I told you, oscillation is a special case of feedback amplifier. Okay, a special case of feedback amplifier is an oscillator circuit. So let us consider a feedback network. Okay, this is the same old feedback network which we discussed in second unit. Only difference is I told you that for oscillator we are not giving any input. Okay, we are not giving any external input. However, the feedback signal itself acts as the input to the basic amplifier block. Okay, so we are now constructing a feedback network. Okay, we are constructing a feedback network such that there is no external input. However, the feedback signal itself acts as the input to the basic amplifier. Basic amplifier means the block with gain A. Okay. Feedback network means the block with gain beta. Okay. Similar to the case of feedback amplifiers. Now, based on these conditions, let us see the mathematical part. Here, okay, we discussed that gain of this amplifier, let us call it as gain of this basic amplifier block, let us call it as A. Okay. Then we can represent the output voltage as A into Vi. Okay. Right. Here, the output voltage that we are getting, V naught, we can write it as A multiplied by Vi. Okay, A multiplied by Vi. Now, next, the feedback signal, we know very well. Feedback signal, okay, now everything we are representing in terms of voltage, okay, right? So the feedback signal will be simply the output voltage multiplied by beta. Feedback signal is, okay, feedback signal VF here is nothing but the output voltage multiplied by the gain of the feedback network, which is beta. So VF, we are taking beta V naught, right? Similar to the case of voltage series feedback. Okay, similar to the case of voltage series feedback, where output voltage, feedback signal, okay, output signal, feedback signal, both are in terms of voltage. Okay. So now next VF is beta V naught. Next we discussed that V naught we can represent it as A into Vi. Okay. So VF is beta V naught. Again V naught we can write it as A into Vi. So VF we can write it as A beta Vi. Okay. From this VF is beta V naught from the block diagram. V naught is, okay, V naught is the gain A multiplied by the input Vi. Okay. So V naught is A Vi. V naught is A Vi. Okay. V naught is A Vi. We have seen this several times when we discussed feedback amplifiers. VF is beta V naught. Okay. For a voltage series feedback amplifier. This also we have seen in second unit. Next, what we are doing is, in place of V naught, we can write AVI, isn't it? From this relation, so VF, we are writing beta into A into Vi. Beta into A into Vi. Okay. Now, here let us see the connection. The feedback for oscillator, we are not giving any external input. I already told you that the feedback signal itself acts as the input to the basic amplifier. Means Vi is nothing but Vf. Okay. So next is we will replace, okay, in place of Vf, we will write Vi. Okay. So here we have Vf is equals to A beta Vi, right? And for the oscillation, for the oscillator, the condition we have discussed is Vf is nothing but Vi. Okay. So Vf is nothing but Vi, right? So in place of Vf, in place of Vi, we can write Vf. Okay. So here also we have Vf, here also we have Vf. So what happens? Both Vfs we can cancel, right? So the important condition that we are getting for an oscillator is the A beta is 1. Okay. The magnitude of A beta is 1. Okay. VF cancel means the magnitude of A beta, we are considering it as 1. Okay. So this is valid for positive feedback, right? So the important condition that we got for oscillator is A beta is equal to 1. Now let us do one thing. Let us go to the previous unit, right? And we discussed that the case for oscillation is for positive feedback A beta equal to 1. Okay. So let us see the expression for positive feedback, let us go to previous unit. Let us see the expression for positive feedback. Let us put magnitude of A beta equal to 1 and let us see what happens. Okay, so now we are going to the previous unit. Okay, here, this is what we have seen in second unit, feedback amplifier. Okay, gain with feedback for the case of positive feedback. Okay, gain for the case of positive feedback is given by AV by 1 minus AV beta. Okay, for negative feedback it was AV by 1 plus AV beta. For positive feedback, we got AV by 1 minus AV beta. Okay, and then based on the small derivation which we have just seen, the condition for oscillations we got was A beta equal to 1. Now in this expression, if A beta equal to 1, what does AF become? Anybody can give answer? In this expression, if AV beta equal to 1, what is the value of AF? Can anybody answer? Yes. If AV beta equal to 1, what happens to AF?
1 by beta.
AV beta equal to AV into beta equal to AV beta, we are taking 1. Okay. AV beta equal to 1. Right? So AF will be equal to what?
A by 2, sir.
A by 2, sir.
AV beta equal to 1. Okay, so AF will be what? Again, you think? I think somebody gave the correct answer.
Infinity.
Very good. It will become infinity. Okay. See, if AV beta equal to 1, then we have AV divided by 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1. Let us see the denominator part alone. If AV beta is equal to 1, 1 minus 1, right? Denominator is 0. Anything divided by 0, then AF will become what? Infinite. Okay, your friend has given the correct answer. AF becomes infinite. So, important observation, for positive feedback, when AV beta becomes equal to 1, okay, when AV beta becomes equal to 1, the gain with feedback becomes infinity. Okay, the gain with feedback becomes infinity, right? So now what happens is, because of infinite gain means very large gain. Okay, so because of this very large gain, what happens is whatever the small disturbances that are present in the circuit, okay, those can now act as input, and that is the reason why, okay, without input still we can get the output waveform. Okay, is it clear? Right? So how the oscillations are generated is, if we maintain the condition AV beta equal to 1, then as per this mathematical relation, AF becomes infinity. Infinity means very large value. Okay. So very large gain means even small noise disturbance signals which are readily present, okay, they themselves will be amplified and we will get output without any input, which is nothing but the oscillations. Okay, right? A circuit which generates an output without any input is oscillators. Okay, so what is the condition for oscillations? Okay, or when a feedback amplifier will act as an oscillator is, for the case of positive feedback, if we consider AV beta equal to 1, then gain is very high, right? Theoretically infinity. Because of this high infinite gain, the small noise signals which are readily present will be amplified to this infinite value, okay? Because of which, without any input, we will get the output signal, okay? Right? And this phenomena is nothing but the generation of oscillations, okay? So the condition for oscillations is we should have positive feedback and A beta value should be equal to 1. Okay. Now let us come back to the third unit. Okay. So when A beta becomes 1, right? When A beta becomes 1, the gain becomes infinity and that generates the oscillation. Okay. Next, positive feedback. Okay. Positive. Two conditions are important. Magnitude of A beta equal to 1. Okay. And positive feedback. Positive feedback. Let us first discuss what is positive feedback. So before discussing that, one of you please tell me, say I have a sinusoidal signal. Okay, I have a sinusoidal signal. If we shift that sinusoidal signal by 180 degrees, what does it become? A sinusoidal signal, if we shift along x-axis by 180 degrees, what does that become? Can anybody answer?
Negative sinusoidal signal.
Very good, correct answer. Okay, sine signal, if we shift by 180 degrees, it becomes negative sinusoidal signal. Okay, right? So, shift by 180 degrees means we are considering negative signal. Okay, shift by 180 degrees means negative signal, right? The important condition for oscillation is positive feedback. Okay, positive feedback means, right, phase shift should be 0. Okay, positive feedback means phase shift is 0 or 360 degrees. Okay, 0 or 360 degrees. But what happens in an amplifier? Okay, what happens in an amplifier block is the amplifier, the basic amplifier provides 180-degree phase shift. Okay, what happens in an amplifier is the basic amplifier block provides 180-degree phase shift. For example, if you go to lab, if you construct a common emitter amplifier, what you will actually observe is the input, if you are giving sinusoidal signal, the output you will actually get is the inverted version. Means when input is positive half cycle, the output you will get is negative half cycle, but amplified, right? So what I am trying to say is a practical amplifier block generates a phase shift of 180 degrees. But the condition for oscillations is the phase shift around the loop should be 0 or 360 degrees. Okay. Now tell me what should be the phase shift generated by feedback network. Already this is generating 180 degrees. The condition for oscillations is positive feedback, means 0 or 360 degrees, right? So what should be the phase shift provided by the feedback network? Can anybody answer? Total we need 360. Already 180 is providing by the basic amplifier. So what should be the, okay, what should be the phase shift provided by the feedback network? This block alone should provide how much phase shift? Pass please. Easy question.
180.
Yes, 180 degrees. Okay. So that is the reason here it is mentioned. The feedback should provide 180 degrees of phase shift in addition to the 180 degrees produced by the amplifier, so that the total phase shift around the loop is 360 degrees. Okay, right? So the total phase shift around the closed loop should be, okay, 360 degrees. Why? That is the condition for positive feedback, right? And in positive feedback, if we put A beta equal to 1, then we have the oscillations. Okay. So now there are actually 2 points, right? There are now 2 points. The first point is A beta should be equal to 1. And the second point is the total phase shift around the closed loop should be 0 or 360 degrees. These points together are called as Bark-Hyson criteria. Okay. If 2 marks question, okay, if question is asked in exam, state Bark-Hyson criteria. Okay. Bark-Hyson criteria. Then you will mention these 2 points, right? Which are the conditions for oscillations. Those 2 points are loop gain A beta equal to 1. Okay, the magnitude of the loop gain mod A beta is 1. And second point is the phase shift should be, the phase shift around the closed loop should be 0 or 360 degrees. These are the 2 conditions famously known as the Bark-Hyson criteria, which have to be satisfied for the generation of oscillations. Okay. Next, what happened? See, we discussed A beta should be 1. What happens if A beta is greater than 1? Okay, what happens if A beta is greater than 1? So what happens is the amplitude will continue to grow. Okay, right? The output, we are expecting a sinusoidal signal with constant amplitude, but if A beta is greater than 1, okay, actually we discussed A beta should be equal to 1. Now let us discuss what happens if A beta is greater than 1. Then what happens is the output will keep on growing with respect to time. Okay, amplitude of the output signal keeps on increasing with respect to time, right? So this is if A beta is greater than 1. If A beta is equal to 1, then the amplitude will remain constant. Okay. This case is called as the condition of sustained oscillations. The oscillations are sustained. Okay. The oscillations are sustained. Understand the meaning of the word sustained in this one. When A beta equal to 1, we say that the oscillations are sustained, means the amplitude of the output is a constant. Okay. Next, if A beta is greater than 1, amplitude will be increasing. If A beta is equal to 1, amplitude is constant. Can anybody guess what happens if A beta is less than 1? A beta greater than 1, amplitude increasing. A beta equal to 1, amplitude constant. If A beta is less than 1, what will happen to amplitude? Guess. From this two you can guess.
It will reduce the
Very good.
Decrease.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So if A beta is less than 1, with respect to time, okay, with respect to time, the amplitude will reduce. Okay. The amplitude will reduce and the oscillations will die out. the oscillations will become smaller, 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 and output becomes 0. Okay. This case is called as decaying oscillations. Okay. If A beta is less than 1, we have decaying oscillations. Okay. So A beta greater than 1, we have oscillations are of growing type. Okay. If A beta equal to 1, we have sustained oscillations. Okay. If A beta is less than 1, we have decaying oscillations. Decaying means the oscillations are dying out. Okay, so oscillations, we have discussed the condition for oscillation. A beta should be equal to 1. What happens if A beta is right greater than 1 or less than 1? Also, we have discussed. Next, we will discuss the classification of oscillators. Okay, classification of oscillators. First classification according to the, see, we have different classifications according to the nature of waveform generated, according to the mechanisms involved, so on. Okay, so first classification according to the nature of waveforms generated. We have basically two categories under this. One is sinusoidal oscillators, the other one is non-sinusoidal oscillators. Sinusoidal oscillators also called as harmonic oscillators. Non-sinusoidal oscillators also called as relaxation oscillators. Okay. So basically in the first case, we have output as the sinusoidal signal. Second case, we will have non-sinusoidal signal as the output. Non-sinusoidal signals are your square wave, triangle wave, and so on. Mostly in this unit, we will be discussing with sinusoidal oscillators. Next, according to mechanisms involved, okay, there are two important mechanisms. One is negative resistance based oscillators. We have negative resistance devices such as tunnel diodes, uni-junction transistor, okay, tunnel diode, uni-junction transistor. These devices exhibit negative resistance. Utilizing the concept of negative resistance, the oscillators that we develop are called as negative resistance oscillators. Next, another important oscillators are the feedback oscillators. That is what we will be primarily discussing in this unit. Okay. We have seen that positive feedback under the condition A beta equal to 1 with phase shift around the closed loop is 0 or 360 degrees will generate the oscillations. Primarily, we will be focusing on that in this unit. Next, see classification of oscillators based on waveform, right? Based on mechanisms involved, we have discussed. Next, based on the frequency generated. Okay, you know audio frequency. What is the range of audio frequency? Anybody can answer? Audio frequency range. Audio frequency range, students, easy question. Pass please. What is the range of audio frequency? Audio frequency range, students, please answer. Very easy
Is
question.
it 20 decibel to 200 decibel?
It
Something.
is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay. Audio frequency is from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Audio frequency is what, right? The voice or, okay, whatever we are talking. Fine. the audio, that is your audio signal. Okay, that is our audio signal, right? That
So
which,
what will be the value in decibels then?
see, frequency, we will, the unit of frequency is hertz. Okay, the unit of
Yeah.
frequency is hertz. So audio frequency, right? Audio is, see, in your TV you have video, audio, right? Audio is that which you are able to hear. The audio frequency ranges from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Okay. So, and based on the frequency generated, if the oscillator, we have designed an oscillator, if it is generating a maximum of 20 kilohertz or less, okay, it is able to generate 20 kilohertz or less, then it is audio frequency oscillator. Okay. Next, from 20 kilohertz to 30 megahertz in the range of radio frequency, right? If the oscillator generates the output in this range, then it is radio frequency oscillator. Next, if the oscillator that we have designed, if it is generating the output frequency in the range of 20 megahertz to 300 megahertz, this is very high frequency range. Such oscillators are called as very high frequency oscillators. Ultra high frequency oscillators, they generate frequencies in the range of 30 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. 3 gigahertz or greater, right? Those oscillators which generate such signals are called as microwave frequency oscillators. Okay. So another classification based on the frequency generated. Another classification based on the frequency generated. Okay. Next important classification is according to the components used in the circuit. Okay. If we are using inductor and capacitor, right? Then those oscillators we call them as LC oscillator. If we use resistor and capacitor, right? In the feedback path, here also L and C in the feedback path, then LC oscillators. Resistors and capacitors in the feedback path, then RC oscillators. If we use crystal, quartz crystal, right, in the feedback path, then we have crystal oscillators. We will discuss all this in detail in the